Good afternoon and happy Saturday to you. I am really not used to going live on a Saturday, so this is kind of crazy. But I'll tell you why I'm doing it. It's because, as some of you might know this already, but if you don't, I set out this past month to make my next month of videos. I challenged myself to get better with my videos, so that's what I am doing. And in part of that, I decided to join a video challenge, and so I'm incorporating both my challenge to my personal self and this personal challenge that's been given to me as well as part of this. It is awesome to see you guys here. Lisa, Naomi, Lisa, and Melanie, all of you guys. It's awesome. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. So what I want you to do tonight is to feel free to drop comments in. Push those like buttons, hit the comments, and chat. Let's see how interactive we can get this video to be tonight. So, curious, what did you do today? What did you spend your time doing today? Hey Marsha, hey Connie, dropping in the comments what you did today. I started my day out, maybe you've seen a couple of the videos. The music studio where I worked had a jam bands meeting throughout the summer, and they were comprised of students from multiple teachers, and they all came together in groups, and they gave a performance today. And I was really impressed because a lot of these kids had very little experience, but they came together as cohesive groups and really gave a nice performance. So I put a few little 30-second type videos out there if you want to catch a drift of what that's all about. Good evening, Christy. Melanie, you had lunch with your parents today. That is an awesome thing. I really miss being able to have dinner with my parents. That's a cool thing to do. Kathy, it's awesome to see you too. So tonight, one of the challenges I've been given is to share things about me and who I am. Some of you know me and some of you don't know me very well, and that's okay. That's what this is all about. So as I go through, if I spur something in your mind that we have in common, or, brings to mind something that you like to do, I want to get to know you as well as just you getting to know me. It's a two-way street, and that's what keeps this fun and interactive. So growing up, I grew up probably about 45 minutes from Green Bay, Wisconsin, in a country area, close to a small town. And I was a tomboy out there in the country. And one of the things that I remember, very first things that I remember, is learning to ride my bike. And I'll never forget the first day my dad, he's going behind me trying to hold the bike seat, and I'm pedaling, and don't let go, Dad, don't let go. And of course, he lets go, and then I take off riding, and it was the best day ever, right? Years later, I had another one of those firsts. I had been begging for the longest time. I want to ride my bike to school. Well, it was 5 miles, and back then, we didn't just get to ride our bike to school. So I remember I was in the 5th grade, and I finally got to ride my bike to school, and I just felt so grown up. It was really awesome. And then not too many years later, I rode my first 62-mile bike ride. And so biking has always been something that's really been enthusiastic to me. So any of you involved in sports? I love to play baseball too. That was another one of mine. Baseball, volleyball, those kind of things were the sports that I really enjoyed. You prepared your daughter's favorite meal and decorated her birthday cake and her party. Oh, I'm so excited for Julie. Julie just turned 14, you guys, and she is having a super cool weekend with her family and with her dad, and I'm just really excited for her, for everything that she's getting to do this weekend. So I did write a few notes down so I wouldn't forget the things that I had written down, and I wrote down about a dozen things. So as I reflected back on growing up, I remembered that I was bullied, and nobody likes to be bullied, but I was, and pretty much off and on all the way until the 11th grade. That was a long time, you know, lots of different people coming in and out of my life, and I don't know what I had written on my face that just said, pick on me, but I did. And the result was I was a really, really quiet person. And it wasn't until I went to camp just before 11th grade. And I laugh about it because I have some friends that say, remember that time at band camp? and it's a funny thing to them because they watched this movie that had that line in it, but I don't have any clue. So they always think that's funny. But this time at band camp, what happened for me is I realized that people liked me for me. They actually wanted to talk to me. They wanted to spend time with me. And I got to know that I was an okay person, and that's when I really started talking. And I didn't realize how much that had boosted my confidence until many years later as I continued to grow in that confidence and I kept talking and getting to know people. And I went to a fish fry in Hortonville, Wisconsin, and I sat down at this table. I was kind of bummed because that's one of those places, talk about having lunch with your parents. My parents weren't able to make it that night. They had planned to go with their Bible study group, but things happened because the weather was nasty. And I ended up getting seated next to this couple, and they're talking around me. I thought nothing of it, and then I started putting pieces together because of their conversation. And I looked at the person sitting next to me. Here it was one of my high school classmates. And it was just so cool. I said, I guess I've changed a lot since high school, huh? He just laughed. He said, oh, yes, you have. So I always enjoyed music. Music was one of those big things. I see Mike and Scott, you've joined me tonight. Welcome. Another couple of people in my life that I really love that have music as part of your lives. That is so cool. So I started playing piano when I was about 7 years old. And after a while, I got kind of bored with it. And then my sisters would catch up with me, and I'd say, oh, got to get back at it. And then I'd give it that extra little push. So it was that kind of thing. And I actually started teaching after, sorry, I'm a little distracted. There's some cats fighting outside. But I started teaching when I went to go get piano lessons. And the teacher told me, no, you should be the one teaching. And I said, are you kidding me? She handed me 3 names and said, go, call these people. So I went to a friend of mine, and she said, Lisa, she's right. You should be teaching. So I started teaching, and that was 26 years ago. I'm starting to sound old, my goodness. But I have loved every second of it. It's been one of those jobs that when I was in high school, I said, I don't want to teach music. But I've done it, and what I find so joyous about teaching music is it just really helps people to be able to express themselves. And as they're expressing themselves, I get to have conversations with them and getting to know them as people and helping them grow and build in their self-confidence. And for those of you joining me who may not have heard in the beginning, I want to get to know you too. So if you're relating to anything that I've said, the things that you enjoy doing, what are the things that you like to do? So drop comments in the comment box. Let me know your favorite things and the things you like. Hey, Samuel. Hey, Kylie. It's awesome to see both of you here. So singing was another one of those things that I've done a lot of singing. My favorite musical that I've ever been in, the favorite role I've ever gotten to play was Sister Amnesia in the musical Nonsense. That was pretty funny and a great role to be able to play. Other instruments that I've played include oboe, bassoon, flute, sax. I did just a tiny bit of percussion and dabbled on a couple of other instruments. I taught myself a little bit of guitar. I'd have to teach myself all over again if I really wanted to play something, but it was fun. Music is fun, and it's a great way to express yourself. Cherry pie and ice cream, that's a good one, Joe. I like that. Making me hungry, and I'm not even hungry at all. He played a drum today. I hope it sounded good. I homeschooled my daughters, and they were in a near fatal car accident in their high school years, and that really put a lot of turmoil on my family and I. But what I really love is Rebecca's attitude. She was almost killed in that car accident, and she's really taught a lot of us about life and persisting and knowing to move forward. And I've really, though it was extraordinarily difficult, I've really grown to appreciate those difficult times in life, because they're what create us into who we've been designed to become. And it was through that experience that I ended up walking halfway across the country. We walked from Tybee Island, Georgia, across 855 miles to Shreveport, Louisiana. And that experience, oh my goodness, it is just an incredible experience that I was able to have. It was a lot of ups and downs because we couldn't plan every step of the way. We had to trust God. And there were a lot of people who came along the way and really helped us out. And I cherish every single one of those relationships and everything that I learned as I walked across the country. It was a time when I couldn't be sure of what was going to happen. We never knew exactly. Well, sometimes we did, like for a couple days at a time. But essentially, we were kind of like homeless. We didn't know always where we would stay or where we would sleep or eat, any of that kind of stuff. All we knew was we were walking from one point to another point, and we had speaking engagements that we got to, and it was an incredible time of ministry, I think, for the people who met us along the way, but also to us, their life lessons that we learned. And it has been a true pleasure to take that experience with me. One of the biggest lessons that I take away from that trip, my daughter reminds me of. I pretty much gave up almost everything I had to go chase my dreams. And it got really, really hard. And my daughter would encourage me, and she'd say, "Mom, remember, whenever it was tough on our trip, when times got tough, God never provided when we were doubting. He provided when we were faithful and took the steps to move forward." So, big, important message. Good evening, Jack and Lisa. Going through some little pieces of information about me, but I'd like to get to know you guys better too. So put in the comments the things that you like to do. Just to anything that you can relate with me and the things that I've experienced. But what are those things that you like? What can I learn about you this evening? Good evening, Shell. Awesome to see you too. Just wrapping up a little piece of this. I had a few different pieces here because I'm going through a challenge. And so I'm not usually on the weekends. Good evening to you as well, Donna and Dan. It's good to see you all. So as you're joining in, comment little tidbits of information to help me get to know you this evening. You'll be able to see some of those if you want to go back and watch my video. I'm coming to the end of this little piece, but I have a couple of pieces on this because I'm doing this as part of a challenge, and there were a couple pieces of information that I wanted to add to it through the challenge. So with that trip and the lessons that I learned in chasing my dream, and that reminder to go out and always trust and always remember that no matter how hard that step is to take, we have to take it. We can't stay in that comfort zone, because when we do, we're not moving forward. We're just treading water. So part of the reason that I ended up in the business that I'm in now, in coaching a mindset for success, was due to that experience on that trip. And then as I looked back at my life experiences and realizing that my self-esteem was so low, and I really didn't know who I was. And what I realized is that it's really my passion and my desire to see other people realize their full self-worth, because every person is so valuable. And I don't think we fully realize how valuable we are, because we like to carry that baggage with us, that baggage from long ago. We like to drag it along, and sometimes we toss it aside, set it down for a while. But I don't know about you, at least for me, I end up picking that back up again and carrying it with me until I remember that, oh, I don't need to remember those things. I just need to remember that it helped me to see and have compassion for other people. So no sad faces going across there. I saw that sad face. But it's a good thing. It's a happy thing that I went through some of that experience that knocked me down a little bit, because it's what's brought compassion to my life. It's what's brought my desire to help other people all along, and learning that I was really created in God's image, and that in and of itself means that we have true incredible value. So one of the other things that we were challenged to talk about this week was, what are your least favorite things? What is your least favorite task? So I started thinking about that. And it was really easy for me to think about what my least favorite task at work is. And that's selling. I just hate selling. It is not something I like to do. Maybe because I don't necessarily like to be sold to. I want to be able to connect. And that's part of what we're here for. It's all about connecting. So one of the things that somebody has brought to my attention, well, actually, it was through a conversation I was having with somebody. We're talking about students. And as students come in, one of the things that they will often do is they'll bring a piece of music and they want to play it like yesterday. And it's this really advanced piece and it sounds really cool, but they haven't yet learned to read the notes. And they expect us to just show them like we're some sort of YouTube teacher and we can show them the best way and it's going to work out just slick. Well, we can do that. But if we do that all the time, they're not going to be able to learn to provide for themselves and be self-sustaining, so that when they leave our side, they would be ill-equipped, right? So we always have to watch out for ourselves. So if sales is one of those things for anybody else out there, remember, you just can't give everything away. You have to have that balance. And there's reasons on both sides of that. So what about things at home? What are the things at home that you really don't like to do? As I thought about that, I thought about the kitchen and the stove. Now, my stove doesn't get too dirty. I'm pretty lucky that way. But there are those days, where the grease decides to splatter up and you end up having to take all the elements out and all the pans out. And doesn't it just feel like a pain? I've got a real slick black top on my stove. And unless I clean it with a special cleaning ingredient, it just looks smeary. So it just takes a little bit of time. Washing the dishes. Who could blame you, Joe? Not wanting to wash the dishes. Yeah, we all have our things that are just not our favorite things to do at home. But please feel free to share those things with me as well. So that is all I'm going to say for tonight. I feel like it's gone on far and long enough, and I would really rather hear more about you. Okay? Schmeary. So as those of you who are watching the rebroadcast join, I hope you share all kinds of information about you. Let me know what your favorite things are, your least favorite things. Let's connect and see what kind of things we might have in common. I'd like to thank you for joining me, whether it was live or on the rebroadcast. That's always fun. And I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, a couple of the things that I have. I'm going to do a little product review and demo, and just another casual conversation. And then Monday we'll be back at it with personal growth and development and working forward from that perspective. So until tomorrow, I hope you have a blessed evening. Have some fun with your family and take some time to relax. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon.